So here's what I'm thinking. So basically we need a jukebox for this play that I'm in, and we don't want to actually get an actual jukebox. But I'm thinking the key to a jukebox is colors here. So we can get something like colored LED lights. Something like this, particularly like some sort of sync to music thing, and what that does, it has a little microphone built in, and so you can flick it to a certain mode and it will light up in time with the music. And so what we do is have like the lights go around here, have some sort of really cheap ass iPad thing here. It's connected to the internet and connected to this Bluetooth speaker, and then essentially what you've got is a little music machine. Have some sort of depth to it, like that. Beat, whatever, something like that. And depending on the speaker, we can probably actually power up the lights from the speaker. So that's kind of the goal. This actually sounds really fun to build. And then we have a jukebox for our play, and in the end I get just a really cool speaker system for parties and stuff. Let's have a look at what JB's tablets look like. 5,400. Lenovo's alright, $200. What's that? 8 inches.
What do they have in LED lights?
The colours are right. Music mode sounds good. We need some timber too. Interesting. That's pretty expensive, but it's a cool thing to have afterwards. Fun project. I need something that diffuses the lights underneath the LED strip as well. I think I've figured out how I want the wheels to work. So basically you tip it over and then these wheels contact and you start moving it around like that. So when you move it to where you want to move it, it's on flat ground. I think that's actually pretty exciting. So I decided to just go to the shops to see what they have. For $30 I found these. They have a colour setting that is basically 50s jukebox. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this strip running in the arch. It'll go up and over and create like the jukebox look. So I've been playing with these LED lights. The more I play with them, the more I want to build a full-size jukebox that works, because this is bloody cool. Found this tube. Pretty cool. Now I can bend this quite easily. Yeah, so that experiment went really well. So here's the thinking. Basically, we have one piece of timber for this entire thing here. That way I can just use a jigsaw to cut the arch off the top of the timber. Here, cut out a hole, and then you can poke the speaker through. And the timber that's left over from that, cut that in half, and you can create a little platform here. So yeah, it's getting up there as a project, but I think it's, you know, if I want the director to even consider putting us on stage, it has to look awesome. I think it's the kind of thing that I'll just enjoy going over to it and playing with it and putting music on. It's just fun to have little physical things in the world. Even though, you know, I've got like wireless smart speakers and smart TV and my phone and everything, and I can press a couple of buttons and bang, I've got music going out through the house. Like, having something physical you can walk over to, whose sole purpose is to play you music. I kind of like that. I like having something physical like that. One of the reasons I'm so excited about this double layer of tubing is because you can have this mode where the light goes boom, boom, boom. The light feeding up from here and the light feeding up from here. So what you'll end up with, if it goes really loud, they go up and meet, boom. I think that's really cool. I don't know, I need some like big brackets to attach the tubes firmly to the wood, and that actually serves a double function. It serves a great aesthetic function because halfway up the tubes on all of these jukeboxes, there is this sort of bracket holding them in place, and there's also a bracket at the top of the arch. I think it's going to look like a, you know, I think it's going to look like a jukebox. Because it's definitely a possibility. I go to this effort and the director's like, that's really distracting. Like, you got this, people are going to be looking at it going, what is that thing? Or it's just too bright or whatever. I need to introduce the idea to him without him feeling like he has to accept it. Like, I just want to be like, hey, I made a thing, see what you think. So in terms of next steps for me now, get these tubes first, get another set of lights. They're going to be defining how tall this thing is. But once I get those tubes all sorted with the lights inside of them, then I can measure those and then go and buy timber to match, it's going to be a lot of back and forth between Bunnings. It would take me so much longer to build in CAD than it would just to drive back and forth, buy new pieces, cut new things, and just make it work. There might be a mistake or two. That's why you measure twice. Plugged both lights into the back of the speaker, both fired up, and just sat there and watched it, and it worked. So yeah. Now that I've bought this thing, you know, I'm on board. It's got lights, it's Sony, what can go wrong? It's fine. I'm gonna do a proper technical test now, make sure that I can charge it up, and then also just run the lights for an hour, and we'll just make sure they definitely work. If it's gonna be on stage, it has to be reliable. So it actually doesn't feel too heavy, it's just huge. All right, so I've got this set up with the two sets of lights, and they flash when you first plug them in, but then it seems to stay solid. So basically now I'm just going to do a long 1 hour test. The bass is insane. So this is so exciting. Well, that was very cool. It's going to work very solidly over an hour. No flickers that I noticed. All right, so I've basically got all the technical details dealt with. Now it's onto the relatively simple side of just putting it all together. This and the lights, they're kind of one of my bottlenecks. The lights are 3 meters long. If I make this too long, then not all of it will be lit up. I'm going to try and do some just measuring by laying all this out. That looks pretty cool. And so I'm just going to cut up here. To give us an idea of how tall it's going to be. It's pretty tall. That's an approximation. I think 140. Yeah, 140 high. So 85. 80 to 85. Alright, so 135 to 140 and 80 to 85. I just want to go down to Bunnings. Let's see what they're doing in terms of wood. See if there's anything that'll fit this length. And also grab some sausages for lunch. Got my sausage sizzle. So that wood, that big panel that I found, pine. I was hoping for like nicer wood, but I might just go the pine and then just stain it really dark. Make it look really nice. I'm just gonna let them sit there and basically let the plastic kind of take that form. Keep wanting to share it with the director. Tell him that I'm doing this because he doesn't know. And I'm almost $1,000 in with tools and everything, but you know, the tools and stuff are things that I wanted anyway. The end product is going to be cool. Like I'm actually really excited to have this thing. It's just like a little party device. This Sony speaker is cool as well. Well, I'm very glad that I gave myself a little bit of buffer, because when you look at this lit up, it's almost to the end of the tube. There's just that little gap on either side. I think it's time to cut this tube and see what it looks like with two sets of lights. I'm pretty impressed. The colours are so bright. So cool to see it all coming together like this. The old 80-85 that I measured, I think the 90's better. That piece of wood that I found is... This is why I wanted to go back and forth between Bunnings and stuff and find these things. Because this project, I'm trying to turn this around in a week, tops. So I went and got my wood today, and this is how it looks when it's all laid out. Alright, so I've pretty much got everything I need here. Got my two wheels and handle for the back, going with mahogany. Felt pads that I can cut to size. I'm going to prime these up and then paint them red. First of all, I need to bend them. Ready to start getting to work. I think the next step is I'm going to cut the arch. It's 900 across. The halfway point is 450. And if it's going to be a nice, even curve, then essentially what I need is a 450mm piece of twine. So first off, we need to figure out exactly where the center is. 25. That's pretty good. So what I'll do is I'll err on the side of outside, and then I'll sand it down to get it nice and smooth. So I was thinking about this as I was falling asleep. I figured it's actually going to be easier to cut the jigsaw out once I put these on. And then I was like, not looking forward to jigsawing these. I was like, I'm just going to take the wood back to Bunnings. Guy was really nice about it. Cut these exactly the way I wanted them. Got these beautiful sharp edges, exactly the same size. So now I'm going to put these down, lay this on top, screw it in, and I can work from a half constructed thing. Alright, let's see how closely the plans match the real world. In my mind, there's 832 millimeters between these two. 831. Alright, moment of truth. Oh mate, that perfect. Beautiful. So this is dried nicely overnight. It's very solid. And when I find a flat bit of the garage, it's very flat. I've got some nice offcuts from these crossbars that I'm going to cut into very small feet. These are going to be difficult to make with the jigsaw. So I've basically just measured out an extra 2 mils on each of them, and I'm going to cut them, and then I'm going to sand until they're all flat and even before I attach them. Wow, I just need to go faster. Settings. This is very soft wood. Well, I'm very glad I learned that lesson before I did my big cutout. Pretty close to straight. That's what sanding is for. We'll make it straight. And we'll just switch one of them out. Now we need to add these to the base. But before I go adding these feet, I'm going to do this big arch. Just going to take it super wide. I'm pretty bloody happy with this. It barely even needed much sanding. Now that I've got it in the right shape, I'm going to lay it down and just see how everything lines up. It's too high. Out there. You know, I could have gone a narrower thing, but it's built now. The 85 centimeters was probably better. I'm not changing that now. Okay, so I've got these two tubes lined up. We want this to be tight, so that line there is where I want it to be bent. And so I think the longer side should be hanging off a bit, and that way it can wrap around, have these nice neat bends on the inside, and then the longer piece wraps around the outside. All right, I got my heat-proof gloves on, and now I'm gonna run a whole heap of heat into this and give it some bends. Alright, so I've made all my brackets so that they will fit perfectly on these tubes. Let's just have a look at a dry fit. So essentially, gonna do that. Here's something I really didn't think of. The average door is 80 centimeters wide. This is 90. Putting wheels on it's gonna be helpful, but it's still not gonna be ultra portable. All right, time for a very big operation. I'm gonna cut out the square where the speaker goes. So I've decided I'm going to go with a curve so that it matches the front of the speaker nicely. Nice. That looks pretty cool. So I keep running into this dilemma of how do I hold this in place whilst I go around the back and screw it on. Well, the only idea I've got is to lay it flat, use this, which is the same height, to hold that piece up, and then position this underneath perfectly and let gravity hold it in place for me while I go and screw it on. Alright, here's how I'm going to make sure it's lined up. Just use my little camera here and just find the line. It's straight and it's right on the line. There's a nice straight line. Makes me very happy. Drinks. A little bit flexy. I suppose if I was going to be really clever about it, I would put a little piece of timber under there. Alright, I did it. Just a little piece of wood at the back here. It's going to be better. That is all the timber done. I went and got some handles and I found these chest handles, which are great. I've used these before. They lie flat, so they won't be so prominent from the front. And then when you need to lift them up, pick it up and hike. Alright, so it's time to install these wheels. What I'm going to do is install them there. And the idea is, when you tip it back, it will be on those wheels. These are big screws, so as soon as I screw it in, it's not going to easily come out. So I really want to make sure it's going to come back exactly how I want it to. I want them like here, so that when you tip the whole thing back, the wheels start engaging pretty quickly. Or do I want them to actually engage there? Yeah, I probably do want them to engage a little bit later. So okay, we're going to put it there. Alright, so the next step is that I do an integration test. I'm going to basically connect everything, the lights, the tubes, everything, and just see what it looks like. Make sure I'm happy with everything. That's everything together. I mean, I kind of want to put on one of my new ones, new favorites. happens when we put these on battery. That is now a fully self-contained unit. What? I absolutely loved the remote control plane that I built that had a flight controller, GPS, autonomous flight, first person vision. I love that plane. If you want to see that, it's on another video on my channel. I think as cool as that plane was, as much as I loved that plane, I think this is the coolest thing I've built. This is all now running on battery power. I'm very happy with this thing. Once it's stained and painted, I can't wait to see it. Alright, so I'm very happy with how those tests went. It works well, it's very cool. A couple of things that need to happen. This handle I put here because it's nicely centered. But the center of gravity of this whole device is about here. And because it's front heavy, it's got the speaker, so if you lift it up, it starts to tip. You can lift it up with this hand to steady it here, but what if someone's trying to move it and they don't know that you have to grab that? So I'm going to move this handle up here, even though it's going to leave some holes behind. They won't be super visible once it's stained, so I think it's just safer that way. One of the last steps really, I just need to put some holes. I need to put a hole here for the power cord for the tablet. And then I need to put a hole at the very back of these bottom brackets so that the lights can feed through the bottom. Alright, so I've measured this at the back, made sure it's all going to fit. Got this big drill bit. Right there. See, there's a hole. I can put my cables through. I think I just got to the point where there's nothing else I need to do. It all fits, it all works. Now comes the hard work. I've got to strip it all off and just sand the whole thing, multiple different grits. So it's down to a nice smooth finish. Paint these and then stain it. So it's time to get sanding. This sander has a dust output. You plug that in there. It funnels into these holes, so then you suck from here. But my vacuum cleaner doesn't fit. So what I'm going to do is put that on that end, and that on that end with zip ties. Let's see. Okay, that. Should have done it like that, but anyway. That is done. So before I start, I've learnt a trick, which is to put light pencil marks all over the wood, and that way you know where you've sanded and where you haven't. I think that's me done with power tools. This project. It really looks pretty schmick. Can't wait to start putting some stain on it. Alright, so all the primer has dried. Sprayed the back of this one just so it would dry. It's come up really nice. So I'm ready to start staining. I went looking for an old t-shirt, but I Marie Kondoed all that shit a couple of years ago. So I went to my partner's wardrobe and found this. I don't think I've ever seen her wear this in 14 years. And it's got that problem where the collar starts to get all wavy. Did you hear that? I think that's good. If I'm being completely honest with myself, I thought it would be a darker brown. It's got a kind of red pinkish hue to it, which I didn't expect. Probably mahogany. See what it looks like tomorrow. If I don't like it, I'm going to go and get like a chocolate brown. That's what I want. Alright, cold light of day. Just had overnight to dry. Actually, I don't hate the colour. If I was just staining it and there was no red metal popping against this, I'd be fine with that. But in my head, it's supposed to be a dark brown because the red metal pops against it. And that is sort of got this pinkish reddish hue. It's got the pinkish hue. All right, chalk walnut. I actually had panels of what stain looks like on wood. So yeah, just rushing again and should have looked the first time. Well, straight away that looks much nicer. Alright, we'll go to brush. It's a lot easier than the rag, that's for sure. That's definitely the brown I wanted. So I've just done the top section and I absolutely love the way this came up. Alright, it's time to stain the face of it. A little bit stressful, but I've prepared it well. I have to do it. So it's fully dried overnight and I really love this colour. I'm so glad I changed stones. I think I'm done. I'm basically at the point where I just need to put it all back together now. These brackets follow the old rule that if you can't hide it, make it a feature. Alright, before we go too much further, we're just going to plug it into the power. Alright, so basically what I want to do is just tweak them before I nail this down and go and secure all the cords at the back. I want these lights to not be so visible, and these ones here. So it's going to be tricky. I just have to go play around with moving them back and forth. Okay, that looks really good. So there is now no more obvious LED lights anywhere. I'm going to attach it to this nail. When we stand it up, it should all stay in place. So this is how it looks at the back. These cords are zip tied in place and I've got string holding the other side, so it's all firm and I can move it around and it's not going to get knocked out of place. It ain't going anywhere. Quick audio check. Well, it sounds good. There's no problems with like vibrations or anything weird going on with the speaker. That's one of the good reasons we have solid wood instead of plywood or anything like that. I mean, that is pretty much done. I'm just going to install the power cable for this, do some other cable management at the back, and then decal. So this is the cable management challenge, I guess. I thought that might be a bit more problematic, but that's actually pretty good. 3 strips of double-sided tape. That ain't coming off. I think kind of like that, right? A little gap in the middle. That's not enough. Alright, full command. It is good, it is good. Absolute last step. So what I'm thinking is, place it there and bend it on the corner like that. And now we can stick it onto the corner. It's got these hobby clamps. All sort of fit the play, and that's the Peggy Lee button, and that's the Ella Fitzgerald. If you unplug the power, and now it's on batteries. So I'm really happy with how this thing turned out. It does everything I want it to do. It plays like music on a really high quality speaker. Even just sitting in the room, the corner of the room in these colors, it looks really cool. And then when you put it on party mode where it's dancing around, lights are all going crazy, it's like, you know, mesmerizing. Like you just like sit there staring at it, enjoying the music, watching the lights. Very cool. So now I guess the only question is, will the director want to use it in his play after all this? So I guess I'll go find out. All right, here goes. I'm gonna go talk to the director, and I got butterflies in my stomach now. Very nerve-wracking. But while we've got time, I figured out that thing I was talking to you about that I could secure for our music.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Jesus. Oh. How can you get hold of this?
So yeah, we can have it whenever. Like we can bring it down sort of next Tuesday, have it to the end of the show.
Really?
Yeah.
How big is it?
90 centimeters. It's quite modern, but it's designed to sort of look a bit aged.
I don't think we light it up.
Okay. It won't look very good without lights. It looks white.
Okay. And are they standard lights?
They stay like that.
So who's got that?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, you can change the colours if you want. But yeah, you can change to whatever different colours. So you can have solid colours, or you can actually customise it per area, sort of in different areas if you want. That's the one I was. That's really right.
How big is it?
So it's about 90 centimeters wide, and it's about that tall.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. It's designed to look like a jukebox from that era, I guess.
Heavy?
Well, it's on wheels and it's got handles and all that stuff. So it's fully movable. It's got felt pads underneath it. So
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You like it?
In terms of
I'm not like a stair.
getting it here,
Yeah.
is that something you can get in your car?
Yeah, yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I don't mind telling you I actually built it for the play. I actually built it for the play.
Yeah.
Really?
Just a hobby.
Yeah.
Really?
I didn't want to put you under the
Really?
pressure to take it, but yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
So where did you pick it up from?
No, I built it all from scratch, like wood, lights, everything.
Wow.
Bloody hell. You are an electronics
Yeah,
guy. You know when you work
yeah.
for EA.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I thought that was like a collector's piece.
But that's why I was a bit deceptive, because I didn't want you
That
to...
was very deceptive. I like good acting.
So I guess my little creation's going to play. That's exciting. If you want to see the play, check it out. Lynn Lane Theatre in Nambour. Links in the description.